Taiwan votes for a new president against the backdrop of growing China threat. People call to cast a vote in the presidential election in the polling station in New Taipei City on January 13, 2024. CNN. Taiwan began voting Saturday in a closely watching the election that could reverberate for beyond its shores after years of growing threat from Beijing, which warned this week the island future is at a crossroad. The governing Iceland of 24 million people will choose both a new president and parliament at a time of heightening tension with China, which under leader Xi Jinping has become much more powerful and increasingly belligerent toward Taiwan. Polls opened on Saturday morning and will close at 4 p.m., 3 a.m. Eastern Time. The result is expected later that evening under Taiwan's famous, efficient, and transparent counting process. The boisterous election campaign itself an illustration of Taiwan's vibrant democratic credentials has been fought over a mixture of livelihood issues as well as the thorny question of how to deal with each authoritarian neighbor to the northwest. China's ruling Communist Party claims Taiwan as its territory despite having never controlled it, and she has called it Taiwan's unification with the mainland the historical inevitability. The result will not only decide Taiwan's future, but could also reshape its relations with Beijing and pose the test to the latest effort by the United States and China to stabilize the rocky ties. Beijing, which routinely sends a fighter jet and warships close to Taiwan's skies and waters, has flamed the vote as the choice between peace and war, prosperity and decline. On Wednesday, it warned Taiwan's voters to make a right choice at the crossroad of cross-strait relations while railing against the Democratic Progress Party called the DPP, which has won Taiwan's last two presidential elections. In the final days leading up to both candidates tours the major cities around the island to stage nightly campaign rallies featuring rock music, emotional speeches, and the rhythmic chanting of slogans by large crowds. Hu Li, the presidential candidate of the main opposition party, Kuomintang, cast his vote in New Taipei on January 13, 2024. Taiwan People's Party called TPP presidential candidate Kuo Wen-ji greets supporters during a motorcade campaign tour in Tainan, Taiwan on January 9, 2024. Lai Ching-te, the ruling Democratic Progress Party, called the DPP presidential candidate, a polling station in Tainan, Taiwan, January 13, 2024. Three men with different visions. Three men are vying to succeed the president, to Tsai Ing-wen, the Iceland's first female leader. Over the last 8 years, Tsai has raised Taiwan's global profile, strengthening its ties with the democratic powers and pursued progressive policies at home, including making Taiwan the first place in Asia to legalize same-sex marriage, though her party has also come under criticism over economic issues. Relations with China no dived after Beijing cut off most communications with Taipei in response to her 2016 election win and further stepped up economic and military pressure following her landslide re-election 4 years later. Tsai's current Vice President Lai Ching-te is hoping to win a third term for the ruling TPP, which champions Taiwan's de facto sovereignty and separate identity from China. That would be unprecedented in the Iceland nearly 3 decades of democratic history and represent a further rejection by Taiwanese voters of Beijing's strong arm of tactics. Hu Yu-yi, a mayor and former police chief, is the candidate for the main opposition party Kuomintang, which traditionally favors closer cross-strait ties. A victory for the Kuomintang would be a welcome to Beijing and signal that voters might want to de-escalate tensions. The third contender, Go Wen-ji, hails from the Taiwan People's Party, which he founded in 2019 to challenge the Iceland political duopoly. Go also favors closer ties with China, but says he will be less differential to Beijing than the Kuomintang. Who is ruling for the presidency in Taiwan? La Ching-te, Hu Yu-yi, Ko Wen-ji. The race is tight. Final polls before the 10-day blackout period showed Lai had a slight edge over Hu, followed by Go. Beijing, which openly loathed the DPP, and Lai and favors a win by the Kuomintang's Hu has stepped up pressure on Taiwan ahead of the vote. It slapped the sanctions on Taiwanese export, flew spy balloons over the Iceland, and showed off a new aircraft carrier, a Pujan, named after the mainland province closest to Taiwan. Taipei has also accused Beijing of ramping up disinformation campaigns and magnifying talking points favorable to China-friendly candidates as part of its election interferences. China has long used a mixture of carrot and stick to woo Taiwan, but over the last 8 years it has mostly been stick. That increasingly bellicose stance and the country's authoritarian turn under Xi has pushed the Taiwan's public further away. Less than 10% now support an immediate or eventual unification, and less than 3% identify primarily as Chinese. Taiwanese identity has been on the rise as Chinese identity has fallen. A supporter waved the flags of the Republic of China during the election rally in Kaohsiung, Taiwan on Sunday afternoon, January 7, 2024. The 33-year-old writer, who only gave his surname to Sang, said he cared the most about cross-strait relations and Taiwan's democratic values. Taiwan is a different country from China, and we need to let the international world know that we are different, he told CNN at the DPP rally on Thursday. But relations with China is not the only thing on Taiwan voters' mind. Despite a growing threat from Beijing, some people, especially younger voters, say China is not their biggest concern in this election, because they don't think the status quo will change in the short term anyway, despite Xi's rhetoric. Instead, they care more about the economy and the livelihood issues, from Taiwan's notoriously stagnant wages to its unaffordable homes. Analysts say that is an area where the TPP, which advertised itself as the pragmatic middleway path, has attracted young voters. The leaders often say that our economy has improved, but we really don't feel that at a local level. A transport sector worker and the father of 2 children, surnamed Wu, said at a TPP rally Thursday. What we see is that housing prices and the cost of living has been going up, so people have to be really careful about how they spend their money, he added. The whole Iceland has been on the move since Friday. Taiwan doesn't allow absentee ballots, meaning voters must travel to their home counties to cast their ballot. Almost all high-speed train tickets leaving Taipei for the southern part of the island during daytime, Friday and Saturday, have been sold off days in advance. Some voters have also traveled back from overseas. Then Cheung, 36, who works in finance in Hong Kong, flew back to Taipei on Friday. For him, the most important issue is Taiwan's sovereignty. He never trusts China, and Beijing's crackdown on Hong Kong has only strengthened his belief, he said. If Taiwan didn't have China as the neighbor today, I might not be so motivated to go back and vote, he said.